So we're going to record for her, and let's dig right in. So I have some rhythm to do dictation. Say hallelujah or something, so I know you're excited about that. Thank you, Leslie. All right. So so we're gonna do rhythm. We're gonna be in 3/4 time. And just like last time, all of these are one measure long, except the last one is 2 measures long, and I'll tell you when we get to that. So I'm only gonna play them twice, but they're only a measure, they're in 3/4 time. And let's just see how well we do, if we're getting better, and if there's a particular rhythm that confuses us. So pencils ready, and here is our first musical excerpt. That was not it. Ah, visitors. Sophie, are you coming in there? There you are. Hello, Sophie. Whoops. Hello, Sophie. We're about to do
Hello.
some rhythmic dictation. So 3/4 time. Be ready. We're going to be playing a bunch of one measure excerpts.
Sounds good.
Excellent. All right. So here we go. First excerpt. Let's do it again. Second excerpt. One more time. And the third excerpt. And again, one more time. The fourth excerpt. And again. Fifth excerpt. And a second time for the fifth excerpt. Sixth. Here we go. Second time. 7th excerpt. Again. And then the last excerpt is 2 measures long. This one is 2 measures long. Once again. All right, so we're now going to look at the correct answers. And remember, you can ask any question you want at any time. But when we're done, put in the chat a number from 1 to 10, where 10 is easy, 1 is very, very hard. And then if there's something specific that you had trouble with, put it in there, or any other comment you've got. But let's take a look and see if we can see these answers. So here we are, and I'm going to play them as we talk about them. So the first one is just quarters and eighths. The second one's also just quarters and eighths. So is the third one. Now the fourth is where we get tricky. Now we've got the dotted rhythms, so there's nothing on the second beat. We have to, if you tap your finger at the same speed, you'll hear it. Here we go. Whoops. I shouldn't have. Where is it? There we go. The third's a variation on that. The next one is syncopation. That's that ba-ba-ba rhythm, where the beat falls off, the notes don't fall on the second beat. That's a tricky one. The next one's even trickier because the syncopation's been moved over by a beat, so it feels unnatural, but it's still just syncopation. And the last one is the famous hemiola. And that's hard to hear because we don't have a pulse anywhere else, but you still get the sense of it. Here it is. So get to the chat. Send me your note, your numbers, and your comments. Remember, 1 means it was terribly hard, and 10 means it was terribly easy. And so send that to me in the chat, and any comments or anything you want to work on. Okay, that's a good number. That's a good number. I'm missing comments from 1. Okay. So we're not doing badly on this. Some people do better than others, but we're not doing badly. So I will not do any more 1 measure 3/4 rhythms, but we might get 2s and 3 measures and start expanding our ability to remember rhythms over time. We're getting pretty close on this. So let's do 1 more rhythm, 1 more set. This is going to be 6/8 rhythms. Again, just 1 measure. And I've put some accents on some of them so you can hear where the beat falls a little more easily, because after hearing 3/4, sometimes it's hard to hear it. So remember, our tempo's a little different now, a little slower. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 is kind of the feel of it. And Let's see how we do in compound meter. So an eighth note is the 1 ta ta ta, and the big beat is a dotted quarter. And now we're now ready to hear the first one. So here's the first one. I'll play it twice. And the second time. The second one. And again. The third one. And let's do that one again. Number 4. And again. Number 5. And again. And the last one is 2 measures long. 2 measures long. Here we go. And again. All right, it's time to check our work. And again, I'll play it and explain as we go, and then put stuff in the chat for me, please. So we start with very simple. We just set up the beat, 2 dotted quarters. The second one, we have a dotted quarter. Whoops, I meant to hit the pause there, sorry. We have a dotted quarter, and then we've got the typical, hey, stop you, I'm hitting stop. And then the typical 6/8 rhythm, the quarter, eighth. So that's just setting up our basic 6/8. The third one, we've reversed it. So instead of being long, short, which is how it starts, it changes to short, long. So that's a quarter, eighth, and eighth quarter, like this. Next one is pretty standard. 1, 2, 3, 1. and the reverse of it. Then the next one, whoops, you don't get to see that yet. So the next one, I'll take me a second to get there. It's longer, but straightforward. It's eighths and dotted quarters. All right, the chat is open. Send me information on the chat. That's interesting.
Wait. 10 is hard, right?
No, 10 is easy. 1 is hard.
Okay, perfect.
So you're sticking by your numbers?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And I'm missing one comment. Yeah. So it seems to me, it's very interesting that some of you do worse on compound meters and some of you do better on compound meters. So I think that we're going to practice compound meters a little bit more than simple, but we will go to 2 and 3 measure patterns again pretty soon. Although I left out the hemiola, so I didn't do the hardest one. But I think we're feeling more comfortable, but not comfortable yet. So that's good to know. And if I'm interpreting it wrong, please send me text and say, "Hey, that's not what I meant," because I really do want to tailor these classes to your needs. All right. The next thing we're doing is we started last time doing melodic intervals as 2 notes that are separate from each other but larger than an octave. And so I'm still staying between an octave and a tenth. So let's just review again. If we subtract 7, we get the equivalent of below an octave. So for example, an F to an A is a third if there's no octave. It's a tenth if there is an octave in between. It's the same interval. And you can tell because 10 minus 7 equals 3. So a major tenth and a major third have the same notes, and they sound the same. There's just an octave in between. So a ninth is a second, a tenth is a third, an 11th is a fourth, a 12th is a fifth. So does everyone understand that before I go on? Just give me a thumbs up if you get that. Got 1 thumb, 2 thumbs.
Wait, can you repeat it?
Yeah, so you know that if I go from C to E, that's a major third. But sometimes I don't go from C to E right next to each other. I have an octave skip. So let me do it so you can hear it. 1 second. I'll just give me 1 second to make it so you can hear what I'm talking about. That'll make it easier. So for example, that's a major third, but I could go an octave in between. It's the same notes, C to E, but the number of notes between the C and the E, the big one is 10 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we call it a tenth when there's an octave in between, a third when there isn't. And the equivalence is simple. If you subtract 7 from the big interval, you get the small interval. So a tenth is the same as a third. A ninth is the same as a second because 9 minus 7 equals 2. 10 minus 7 equals 3. An 11th is a fourth. And a major is a major and a minor is a minor. So major third, major tenth. Minor third, minor tenth. Major second, major tenth. A major ninth, sorry. Minor second, minor ninth. Unison, octave. Does that make sense? Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm going to play some intervals that are bigger than an octave. And your job is I'll play each one twice, and your job is to try and figure out if it's a major tenth or a minor tenth or a major. They're all going to be either octaves, ninths, or tenths. Nothing bigger than tenth, nothing smaller than an octave. Then the third time you hear it, I'm going to condense it. So if it was a tenth, it'll now be a third. Hopefully, we're good enough to hear seconds and thirds. frankly, we can still mess those up no matter how good you are. But it gives you a chance to check your work and see if you heard it correctly. And then I'll go over it and show it to you anyway. But twice you'll hear it as a 10th or a ninth. And then once you'll hear it as a third or a second. And then just write down major ninth, major 10th. Leslie, not to embarrass you at all because I'm just playing, but write the big version, not the small one. Leslie got all right answers last time we did this, but she put some of them as thirds instead of tenths because last thing we hear is thirds. Not her fault, but I couldn't resist teasing her. Okay, so let's try it, guys. I'm going to play each of these things for you. There's like five or six of them. Here we go. First one. Here's the first interval. Let's hear it again. And now the reduced version. Second interval. And again. And the reduced version. Third interval. Again. And the reduced version. The fourth interval. And again. And then the reduced version. Now the fifth and final interval. Here it is a second time. And the reduced version. Okay, you know the drill by now. Let's check our work and then put it in the chat. So the first interval is a major 10th, A to C. We'll play it so you can hear it. C sharp, I mean. And there's your A to C sharp in the small version, the third. So that's a major third. The second one is a minor 10th. And you see it's a minor third here. The next one I think is, I can't see it on my screen. Yeah, it's a minor ninth, which is the same as a minor second. Hold on a second. I don't know why I'm getting all the notifications coming in, but it's making me crazy. Okay. Let's get you just the minor. Now we've got the major ninth, which is the same as a major second. And then we have a major 10th again. Here we go. And we can hear the same as a major third. Okay, fill the chat with comments, guys. Remember, 1 is hard, 10 is easy. Wow. Okay. So nobody found it harder than rhythm, and some of you found it quite a bit easier than the rhythm, and some of you found it easy squeezy. So we're going to have to practice a little more of it, but I'm going to start adding some 11ths and 12ths since some people are doing very well, and we'll practice it a little bit more, okay? It's not easy stuff, but I think we're doing well. All right, then let's do the next step. Wow, so many things to practice, so many things to learn, but we'll get there. The next one is harmonic intervals. I keep saying it wrong. It's harmonic, like harmony. The two intervals are played together. So you hear two notes together. Now, right now, I'm only doing up to a fifth, I think. So there's seconds, thirds, fourths, and fifths. That's all we're playing. They're all small intervals. I'm going to do what I did the last time, play the harmonic interval twice, and then I'll play it once as a melodic interval so you can check your work. It also gives us practice at regular melodic intervals. So harmonic twice and then melodic. And let's give it a shot, see what we can do. First interval. Let's play it one more time because I didn't warn you. Second time. And now the melodic version of it. Second one. Let's do that again. Whoop. Stop it, you. And now the melodic version. Let's do a third interval. And again. And here's the melodic version of that one. And now the last interval. And again. And the melodic version. All right, you know the drill. Let's check our work and then messages in chat. So we start off with a minor third. And if you separate the notes, these are the notes right here. That's a major third. And here's the separated notes. Major second is next. If we separate those notes, here we are. And the last one's a minor second. All right. Hit me with it. Tell me how we're doing. All right, 2 of my comments are in. Yeah. So we did actually quite well. Not everyone was perfect on it, but some people did very well, which amazes me because I'm better at rhythm than pitch. And some of you guys, your pitch is so good. Yeah, so I think that's right. I think for the most part, rhythm is harder than pitch. And so for you guys, doesn't mean that it's anything's ever simple because nothing about music is simple. But we'll spend well, that's why it started with rhythm, and I'll make the rhythms a little more complicated to get us used to it. But I'll start with rhythm each time. I think that's always a tougher sell. But we have to do some pitch work because it's you just have to practice to be at your best. All right, so what we're going to do now is we combine it. We're going to be playing some single line dictation. I will give you a key and a number of measures. Everything's in 4/4. In fact, everything is 2 measures long, but the key is different for each exercise. So we're going to do 3 of them as single line, and then if time permits, we'll try a 2-line one. And it'll be a little trickier than the last time I tried 2-line because it's all on piano, so it's harder to separate. But let's find out. So we're going to be doing 2 measures in the key of E flat, treble clef. So E flat, put your key signature in. 4/4 time, 2 measures, and the first note is the E flat that's at the top of the treble clef staff. E flat, top of the treble clef staff. And I'll give you another hint. It's not a quarter note. The beats could be like this. After the first 2 beats, everything's a quarter note, and that'll tell you your rhythm. The first 2 things are not quarter notes. That way you won't be confused by the beats, so you can get your rhythm. So let me play it once for rhythm, then we'll go right back, quite just so you can hear what the beat is, and then we'll play it twice, 3 times through for pitch. Okay, here's the first time. Here is the first time he lies to you. All right, so here's the first one. And just listen for the rhythm so you know where the beat is. So dun da da is the beat. Okay, I'll play it 3 times now, starting with this one. Here we go. First time. Second time. Second time. Here we go. And the third time. All right. The second one is in D major. Get a new key here, but we don't start on D. We're still in treble clef. We're going to start on the F sharp at the bottom of the staff. So we start at F sharp in the key of D. All right. Makes it a little trickier. Let me play it for you. Here we go. First time. Well, actually, let me wait till you have a chance to put in your key signature. Key of D, key signature. So on the F sharp. Okay, first time. Second time. And the third time. Okay, our last one of this type is in C major. Get your ear on C. It's going to start on middle C, the C below the treble clef staff, and it's in treble clef. I'll wait for you to write key of C. Lots of sharps and flats. Here we go, key of C. Second time. And the third time. All right, let's find out how we did. This is the tough stuff, but this is what we're trying to learn to do, to combine rhythm and pitch all together and take down melodies. Let's see how we did. So our first one, everything at the first measure moves stepwise. We have this tricky rhythm at the beginning, and then it goes down the scale. I have the chord. So this is do, that's mi, and that's so down there. So it's with la thrown in. So it sounds like this. Sorry. All right, the second one starts on the third degree. It starts on mi. Mi, but just stepwise again, and then goes to do. So if we hear where do is, we can get that pattern. It sounds like this. Yeah. Whoops. Now the last one's really tricky because there's a bunch of leaps in it, but we can see it goes do, mi, let's get see. Do, mi, and there's a so here and ends on mi. So if we could hear the chord, the rest of it we could figure out. That leap there is a leap of a fifth. That's a big leap. And even though we can hear fifths by themselves, in the middle of a piece, that's hard. But we can hear that's going to come down. If we know that that's so, we can hear this. Whoops. Yeah, let me get it there. Hold on a second. Yes. All right, so you know the rules. Throw it in the chat. Yeah. Yeah, by the way, it was in I didn't see your text, Daviel. I'm sorry, it was in 4-4. Okay, I've got some. I'm missing one more comment. Yeah, so obviously it's harder to put it all together. And everybody is above 5, so everyone's doing okay, but we want to practice this, and then we'll put a lot of energy into it. I only have a few minutes, so I can't really do the two-part, but I can play it once or twice or 3 times if you want to just hear what it would be like. So let's just do that. Let's go into the key of F. So it's 1 flat. Your top voice starts on an A. Let me just so you can hear it. Top voice starts on an A in the treble clef staff. The bottom voice starts on an F at the top of the bass clef staff. So there's your F. Soprano starts here on the A, bass starts here on the F. And the secret of this is when you hear it over and over, the first thing you try to get is just get the rhythm, so you don't have to worry about that. In this case, is only the first couple beats are the only things that aren't quarters. Then do the easy stuff, get the soprano. If you can hear some intervals, those intervals like this, you might be able to fill in some bass right away just by knowing what you end on. For example, if you can hear the harmonic interval, and then you try to listen for the bass. So I've got only 2 minutes, so I'm going to play it rapidly a couple of 6, 7 times. Let's just see how it goes just for fun. We'll compare notes next week. Here we go. Let's try it again. The third time. And the fourth time. Now, that probably wasn't enough time for you to get it. We were really rushing. It was just a joke, but I want you to see it, to see how close you got. So you notice that the rhythm between them was identical. That doesn't always happen, but it will happen when we start to learn this. Rhythms were identical. This melody is just da da dum bum. That's right. So it's got that leap of a fifth, but just mi, do, and so we can find it. The bass just goes contrary motion. And the things you can catch is that this octave sort of stands out. So you realize that they're hitting the same note there. And this note is not a big surprise because it's a one chord. It's the F, A, C. We just left out the F there. So you can hear that third. So you could sort of guess if you're on the right track by those notes. Let's listen to it together where we can see it. I'll play it twice. See if you can pick it up. See, the motions gets me, but that octave just jumps out at me. Let's try one more time. And just for fun, throw in the chat a number on that one too. We're just beginning, so I expect it's hard, but I'd like to see how you did. So just throw me a number. Good. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so it's a very hard skill, but once you get it, you really get it. And some of you are already getting it. And fear not. And that was just rough because we had to do it so fast. Because class is over. And you guys, it was great to have you all here. I see you tomorrow for regular class. Thank you and have a great evening.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye-bye.